Welcome back to the show. I'm Dave.
And I'm Wally.
Let's get into it.
Watching the drones up in the sky as of right now in New Jersey and stuff, in Texas, everywhere. Like, y'all don't gotta be afraid. Them are man-made drones. And we're doing the launching or whatever. Now, what you do have to be concerned of, my bad, my eye, but is the orbs that's inside the sky that y'all see that's glowing and stuff, that's shooting down the drones and all that. That's not a part of us. Them are actually real life aliens. Like, aliens do exist. They're above and they're below us. Yes, they do exist. And 2025 there will be a lot more of exposing the truth. Now, I can't say the reason why, but because it's already out here, so I can speak on this. Aliens are real, and we will have to evacuate sooner than later. But just be careful, keep looking up in the sky. We are launching the drones up in the sky.
Okay, I'm videoing this, and this is one of those drones that everybody's talking about. Right there. And at first I thought it was the ghetto bird, but it's not. And it's loud. Oh my god, here we go. Here it is. What is that?
The video looks real to me.
What are you saying?
I think it's probably like a military attack or something.
Oh, you think that's actually legit?
I think so.
They literally are saying now that human DNA is a fractal antenna. What that means, fractal antenna, it's not just tuned to one thing, it is tuned to broad spectrum information across a vast array of bandwidths, okay? It's not just tuned to one. Human cells are also antenna. Human neurons are also antenna, all right? The antenna in that petri dish, the instructions for the Pong are not in the neurons. The neurons are the antenna, the biological antenna that tune to the place, the information in the field that underlies all existence, the field that was revealed. CERN Superconducting Super Collider 2012 announced that there is a field underlying all existence. They now acknowledge that.
Like a field of consciousness?
Well, some people call it consciousness. It's information. It's a field of information. And now it's a very different way of thinking. And I got to tell you, this is not my training. I was not trained to think this way. I had to cross traditional boundaries and open my mind to follow the data to where it's leading rather than trying to force the data into a pre-existing story.
Right.
All right. And that's important for all of us. So the neurons in the petri dish are in communication with a field. Pong was played by millions of people for so long. There is a vibratory essence held in that field. Some spiritual traditions call it the Akashic Records, or you call it the Matrix or the Divine Matrix or the Planck vibratory field or the 0 point field or whatever you want to call it. There's all, depending on the application, people give it different names. The bottom line is that we are a field of, it's not out there. We are part of that field. And the neurons in that petri dish are tuned to the place in the field where Pong lives. And the longer they play, that's how they are able to get better and better. The neurons in the petri dish are tuned to pong in the field, the neurons in our brain and in our heart and the cells of our body are tuned to the field that holds our divinity. When our biology is replaced, we no longer have those antennae communicating with that part of the field, and we become lost, we become frightened, we become fearful, and we become vulnerable to the control and the agendas of others. And this, I think, there's so many ways to go about this, Danny. If people are biblically inclined, we've always heard that the body is the temple. 1 Corinthians 3, I think it's 3:16. Know ye not that your body is the temple of God, that God dwells within your body? And people say, okay, cool. This is so interesting as an archaeologist studying ancient temples, whether it's in the Middle East or it's in Asia or Greece or wherever. Ancient temples, when they were built, they were always built in layers. And the innermost sanctum, the innermost room, was always the place where the greatest wisdom and the highest knowledge and the deepest secrets were kept. It was called the Holy of Holies in the temples. If we are a temple, we have not one Holy of Holies, but we have 50 trillion Holy of Holies, because the nucleus of every cell holds the DNA that tunes us to our divinity. That is our Holy of Holies. Does that make sense? They literally are saying now that...
I can see DNA being an antenna, because there's like a million miles of DNA within us.
But there's no actual evidence, or, well, I shouldn't say evidence, but there's no actual proof of anything he's saying.
Right.
It's all just what he feels intuitively.
Yeah, I agree. Because nobody knows this 0-point field.
There's no way to measure it.
Step. This is what they're going to do. And it's at the time, like, you should read the comments. People are like, are you crazy? Fake alien invasion. We're going to see lots of craft all over the United States. Really? That's about to happen? Yeah. Now it's here. So how crazy does that sound? But he laid out, in fact, he's been talking about this for a long time. And he said what's going to happen is that they are going to start interacting with military craft. That's the next step. Military craft interacting with these. And then you're going to have military craft getting shot down. This is all part of the plan. So listen to what he had to say about this. This is just a snippet. I encourage you to watch the full interview, but here's just a snippet. What do they want in this situation where they would want to start taking down aircraft? What do you know from your experience in the FBI that they act, this deep state? What do they want?
The end goal is, and this is a long-term psychological operation, as well as physical operation as well. The long-term goal is ultimately to put together this grand operation called fake alien invasion. Now, the only fake part about it is going to be that the alien visitors are involved with this. They're not at all. Everything else is going to be real. The destruction that they bring to our cities is going to be real.
So
what?
That was a year ago.
That's wild.
That was a year ago.
I do remember that.
I mean, John, of course, has been vilified by, they go after him because he's an FBI whistleblower. I mean, he left the FBI, and he's been basically, educating all of us about this. But anyway, that's just a small piece of it. And
it's wild, though.
He's not the only one. So he's one of many people and sources that we've spoken to here over the past year who said that this was coming, and they gave us specific dates when they told us it was coming, and they hit those dates. So now it's here. But this is the most mind-blowing thing of all. A post on 4chan in 2022. Okay, now this has been removed. This has been covered up and censored multiple times. I'm going to read to you from this, okay? So this is, again, from 2022. The next false flag will be centered on the premise of malicious interdiction of nuclear source materials. It will not involve a nuclear device or nuclear detonation, but rather a radiological threat. Nuclear source materials will be deliberately leaked to target areas to inflict severe injuries through radiation exposure. The real number of casualties as a result of these attacks will remain very low. The purpose is to create a new method of restricting freedom of movement and new policies that will enable the government to continue its expansion of power. The media will display images of attack survivors who will have burns and lesions across their skin. Videos depicting overwhelming triage centers with victims vomiting or other unresponsive symptoms will be shared on social media. The threat of radiation exposure, an invisible enemy, will be used as the primary vector. Basically saying an application modeled after the COVID contact tracing will be installed on every mobile device that uses iOS or Android. The application will have to notify the user about potential hazardous exposures and recommend actions that they take should include voluntary exposure testing. Additionally, the cellular carriers will roll out automated SMS alerts that will have similar functionality. This application will interface directly with the UICC mobile dialing service. If the user does not have this application installed, network connectivity will be prohibited. And it goes on and on from there.
You need to shut the front door.
So
This is
from
crazy town.
2022. And then over the past few days, the threat of radiation exposure, because they can't find the damn radioactive devices that wound up in the port of Newark and in a cargo container that are empty. Radiological devices that are empty and missing now. And of course, many people, drone experts, have said that in fact they're looking for something radiological right now. That the only reason these orbs, whatever they are up at night, these man-made craft, are as a result of a radiological exposure. Take it with a grain of salt, I guess. You could throw it out the window if you want to. Why are we seeing this all now? The timing of it is absolutely perfect. 30 days before President Trump takes office. What is the purpose of it? Again, you can consult that 4chan post from 2022. It doesn't, it's up to you how you want to look at it. All of this was a step. This is what they're going to do. And it's at the time, like.
That's pretty intense. Mm-hmm. So the first video that we watched with the soldier in the car,
yeah,
he mentioned in there that we're going to have to evacuate, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of lines up exactly with what they're saying in the control of movement.
He also said, I can say this because it's out there, because they're putting it out there intentionally.
Right. So it's like the soldier didn't have all the information or whatever. This guy's really adding on to that a lot.
Yep.
But it's something that, like I would say, this is like COVID-2 from a globalist perspective.
Yep.
Where they're going to implement more control now.
Yep.
You're going to be used to drones in the sky that are supposedly there to detect radiation. But more than likely, they're just watching the movements of all the people, and they're going to have this huge, police state, which is a word used so much, but that's going to actually, and people are going to voluntarily go into this because they think it's going to keep them safe.
Yep.
And that's how they're going to control the human population to exactly however they want to, for whatever means they want to.
New World Order dystopia, here we come.
The Syrian prisoner who was rescued from jail by CNN was actually Bashar al-Assad's intelligence officer who reportedly killed and tortured civilians. The man was discovered by CNN's chief international correspondent Clarissa Ward in an abandoned Syrian detention site last week. In a video that went viral, the inmate appeared astonished to see daylight as he claimed to be an ordinary citizen who had spent 3 months in an isolated prison cell.
Syria is free, he tells him. It's the first time he has heard those words.
Now, a Syrian fact-checking organization has reported that the man in the clip was, in fact, Lieutenant Salama Mohammed Salama of the Syrian Air Force Intelligence. According to locals, Salama had been imprisoned for less than a month over cash he had allegedly extorted. The image shared by locals showed Salama inside what appeared to be a government office. CNN has confirmed that the man in the video was indeed the former intelligence officer associated with the deposed Syrian regime. Salama's current whereabouts are unknown. The Syrian prisoner who was rescued from jail by CNN.
Sneaky.
What is the sneaky part? I guess I missed it.
When they raided, or the rebels got into the Syrian prisons, this guy pretended to be one of the prisoners escaped, but he was actually the bad guy.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. And now nobody knows where he is. And CNN's like, oh, you're free.
Right. Mainstream media is such garbage.
It is.
What are you trying to be so perfect for anyway? Why have we decided that perfection is even a righteous thing to be striving for? You know, everything in the universe polarizes, light and dark, summer and winter, life and death, masculine and feminine, wild and domestic. And this culture is chronically terrified of the dark, the feminine, the wild, the winter, and the death, and chronically obsessed with the light, the summer, the masculine, the domestic, and the life. See, I used to think the suffering we see on Earth was a result of allowing in too much dark, allowing evil to prevail. But now I see it was the other way around. The worst crimes throughout history have been committed by those obsessively pursuing perfection, purity, and light, not those allowing and accepting the dark. See, perfection is just control dressed up in a different costume. And therefore, perfection is just another attempt to tidy up a scruffy universe. What this world needs is humanity, being rough around the edges. And a beautiful, sustainable, regenerative human culture is one who understands how to balance poles, not tries to make one end of a polarity beat the other. What are you trying to be so perfect for anyway? Why have we just...
It's pretty solid.
Yeah. Good. It's a point that I've never heard before. It's pretty solid.
Oof. Damn, didn't know when to give up, I guess.
Man, that poor black bear.
That radio command link. Actually, it's a link along that tether line you see there, 25 feet of umbilical cord. That contains the life support system and communications link from the spacecraft life support system out through that chest pack. That radio command link.
Did I miss it?
It looks so fake.
Oh, that's the whole thing? It just looks fake?
Yeah.
Okay. It does look very fake.
Yeah, extremely fake. But back then, I'm sure it was like believable. But now, that's fake as shit.
I mean, it looks fake, but is there anything, or like, what makes it look fake exactly?
Well, it's like, it's hard to explain, but it doesn't look anything like the real spacewalks that we see. It looks like he's hanging from a string. The hose doesn't behave like it should. I don't know, I
mean, it could be fake, you know?
Weird.
That's fake as shit.
Think it's fake?
Of course it's fake.
Okay. Could be fake.
Do you actually think that was real?
It looked kind of compelling with the clouds moving and stuff.
Yes or no?
I'm on the fence.
Okay. Maybe it's real.
I got it.
What the fuck is that? Dude, what the fuck is that?
What is that?
What the fuck is that?
Yo!
Wow! What the heck? What is it?
You talking about that? What is that? Right here, dude.
That I don't know.
How cool is that?
I got it.
It's cool looking. I don't know if that's real either, though.
That's clearly fake. They just overlaid a bunch of different people's audio.
The audio was weird,
over
right?
the top.
Yeah. The audio
of
was
an
like
AI-generated
chopped up
video clip.
Interstellar tunnel found that connects our solar system to other stars. What stands out is the detection of a channel or tunnel that appears to stretch towards the Centaurus constellation. Have you watched Three Body Problem? Does Centaurus sound familiar to you? In the Netflix show Three Body Problem, there are these plasmoid-like entities called sophons. They are superpositioned and they can quantum jump wherever they want. And they are linked to a civilization in Alpha Centauri, aka Centaurus. Yes. Mind you, this is like a real scientific article, so far, that I know of. This sophon is from a sci-fi fake Hollywood TV show. So these sophons' agenda is to keep watch of human beings to see if we're going to surpass a certain type of technological advancement, because if we do, we are a threat to them. The Alpha Centauri race sent these sophons to Earth to make sure we stay stupid, because their ultimate agenda is to colonize this place. It's to take over, have dominion of our home planet. I'm going to show you a screenshot of a clip. The sophons tell these humans, in place of truth, we give you miracles. We wrap your world in illusions. We make you see what we want you to see. We are everywhere, anywhere, and we will teach you how to fear again. And what's the craziest thing is, this is not from Three Body Problem. This is what appears to be a real plasmoid filmed on somebody's phone or camera that was posted on TikTok. This was also a supposed plasmoid. Since we're talking about plasmoids, since we're talking about the existence of them, and how plasmoids are sentient, these little buggers right here, they are also sentient. In the show, they show you how this little thing, this tiny little sophon, actually encapsulates this huge, ginormous amount of consciousness. This consciousness collapses into a toroidal field that ultimately becomes this tiny little thing. And this tiny little thing looks almost identical to the plasmoids we have been seeing that have been filmed. The drones flying over certain areas where there are spikes in radiation, and these radiations can be caused by plasmoids because plasmoids give off radioactive properties. Could it be linked to that Alpha Centauri constellation? Because, like, what are the chances? You know, what are the freaking chances? Unless they're making fun of us, which I don't doubt, honestly. This is just so plain in your face. Now, you guys know my stance on the plasmoids. I don't immediately think that they are good. I don't think they're angels. I think if something is sentient, you have to ask the question, what is its sentience? What is its consciousness? Because I'm sentient. I'm a human being. You know who else was sentient? A lot of very evil people in our human history. Animals are also sentient. Lizards are also sentient. What kind of sentience is it? And what is its agenda? Interstellar tunnel found that connects our solar system.
That also ties into that military guy at the beginning, because didn't he say the orbs are not us?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. I don't even know if the orbs are real. You know what I mean? I feel like that effect is pretty easily to create, and I don't think any of them have been like. I haven't seen any actual serious organization or person talk about plasmoids. And you know, things go through TikTok and it's just pure garbage.
Videos aren't great.
No. And you know, any decent AI video software could create something like that, and as well as people can create stuff like that. So I just don't know how to feel about this whole plasmoid thing, her whole thing. I mean, obviously she has no clue what's going on. She's relating it to a movie.
It is interesting that the Three Body Problem did have those sophons, and they were orbs.
Yeah.
What that come out about a year ago, I think, or something?
Yeah, like a year and a half, maybe.
Who is the Antichrist? Now, the Bible doesn't name him specifically, but we can figure out who he is through his family lineage. Check this out. First, we find out that he is a Gentile, and that is according to Daniel 9:26. And what we find out first is he's a Roman. When Daniel wrote this was still prophecy yet to be fulfilled. The destruction of Jerusalem and the sanctuary, or the temple. And that hadn't happened yet when Daniel wrote this. But it did happen in 70 AD. And who were the people that destroyed the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD? The Romans. And Daniel 9:26 tells us that the prince that shall come, the Antichrist, will be of that people. So he'll be Italian, or more specifically, a Roman. Also in Daniel 8:9, the Antichrist is referred to as the little horn. Historically, you'll find that the little horn was a man of Greek heritage by the name of Ariakes Epiphanes, who lived 2 centuries before the birth of Christ. And this man is a picture of the Antichrist because he came in and caused all the sacrifice to cease. So because of this, we believe he will be also a Greek. He'll also be a Babylonian. Go to Isaiah 14. Here it describes the description of the king of Babylon. Verse 6 says that he will smite the people in wrath and he will rule the nation in anger. And the king identified in this passage is none other than Lucifer. All right, he'll also be Assyrian. Isaiah 10 refers to him as the Assyrian. So not only is he a Roman, not only is he a Greek, not only is he Babylonian, not only is he Assyrian, but he's also going to be a Jew. And we see that in Daniel 11:36. And verse 37 also indicates he may be a homosexual. And he'll also be from the tribe of Dan. Now, if you'll notice in the list of the tribes in Genesis 49, Dan is listed, but the tribe of Dan is not listed in the book of Revelation. And Genesis 49 also refers to the tribe of Dan as a serpent. And if you read through Judges 17, the tribe of Dan originated a religious system who uses black robe priests called fathers who use idols as aids of worship in the house of their gods. It's all right there in Judges 17. So coincidentally, when the Antichrist comes on the scene and does his thing during the tribulation, he will unite the world religiously, using a system of religion that uses black-robed priests called fathers who uses idols and aids of worship in the house of their God. It's no doubt why in Revelation 7, Dan is written out of the thing that the Antichrist will be of the tribe of Dan. So in putting all the puzzle pieces together, the Antichrist will be a Roman, he'll be a Greek, he'll be Babylonian, he'll be Assyrian, and he'll be a Jew from the tribe of Dan who uses a religious system of black-robed priests called fathers. So I'm thinking the Antichrist will be a pope. Who is the Antichrist? Now the Bible doesn't name him specifically.
She did some serious research there.
Yeah. The Catholic Church could be the Great Deception that's mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah.
That could be the Great Deception.
Yeah, a lot of stuff doesn't add up with all the rituals and the money.
Right.
And the power.
Yeah, a lot of stuff doesn't add up.
And the secrets.
Yeah. A telescope named Lucifer.
Yeah.
What?
It's kind of sketch.
Yeah. The pedophilia.
Pedophilia. We can just keep going on and on, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one's been around for a little bit, but I wanted to throw it through a couple of the tools that I have just to see if we can tease more details out of it. There was a pilot flying at 29,000, almost 30,000 feet, saw something out of the window, out of the cockpit window, and recorded it using his phone, I'm assuming, because it's zooming like a phone is zooming. So what I did was I was curious if this was going to be one of those objects that was a cube inside of a sphere. So put it through Topaz, did the best I could. We're really pushing the technology at this point that's available to us, at least us on the civilian side. But there's enough detail here where there's a lot of frames that are showing a cube inside there. And like I said, we're really pushing it, but there are enough frames that show a cube on the inside of this thing, right angle there, it's a right angle, got an angle here, right angle here. I believe this is one of the cubes in the spheres that the fighter pilots have been talking about and some of the other things that I've been seeing out there as well. So this is actually a really good demonstration of one of these objects. So I was just curious if that's what this was, and that's, in my opinion, that's what this is. I don't know what the heck they are, but this is one of them, in my opinion. And again, I'm just a guy in his basement. But all right, this one's been around for a little bit.
All right, that's it for today's show. If you guys found any of those videos interesting, do us a favor, hit a like on the like button, subscribe so you can catch the next one, and we'll see you.